What is up, players? It's Warboss Tay up in this mug. Welcome to a video unboxing the Night Goblin Squig Herders. These are in metal. Looks like I paid 19 bucks and what is that, 75 cents? Man, what was I thinking? I really was into Night Goblins and Orcs and Goblins in general. They were my first army in Warhammer, and a lot of the figures when I started collecting were available only in metal. So I did have to spring for these clamshell packs, and I knew a couple of people in my local gaming area that really went all out, and they had the full-on blocks of metal infantry, almost hordes of these metal figures that they'd painted up, and I just couldn't afford it. I was a kid at the time. But let's see what we got here. You get a free Wet Pallet. These clamshell packs are terrific because you can use these plastic containers here as a wet pallet. Just fill the bottom with some water, not too much, but enough that when you fold up a paper towel and put it on, it's got to be a paper towel, not a Kleenex, then it'll absorb it. And not too much after that, drain the excess water, and there you've got a wet pallet. It's good for hours. Your paint will last for hours. All right, so let's take a look. In this Squig Herder pack, you get 3 Squigs. They're all identical in this one. I think there might be a separate one where there's some variant Squigs, but these are your just big metal Squigs. They're big, round creatures. I think they're supposed to be fungi. They're just full of teeth and bad attitude and claws. They're so much fun to paint. That first one you saw had a little bit of a nub under its stomach connecting it to the base. This one has a very prominent bar that is there to stabilize it. So the when you're moving your figure around, your squig isn't going to snap off of the metal tab connecting it to the base. You can either keep it, which I usually don't. I'll clip that little metal bar off. But if you do want to keep it, you can just paint it black so that it is not too noticeable when you've got your entire model painted up. These squigs are usually painted up in bright colors. I've seen mostly in red, but you could also paint up some squigs in different colors. They're supposed to represent all kinds of cave mushrooms and stuff. And mostly you see them in red because red is a great contrast color for black and for the green skin of the goblins. You'll also notice that these squigs have pretty noticeable bits of flashing, so little nubs like that are sticking out, as well as some mold lines, usually along the center of the model. This one you can see is pretty prominent right there, going down the middle. And all you have to do to clean that up is take the flat of your hobby blade and just run it along the model. You don't want to use your blade itself. This is a trick that I always talk about because something I used to do was just to get that clean edge, I would take the blade and I would scrape it along the metal of my figures, and what you end up doing is gouging out more than you anticipate, and then you end up having a very uneven surface, very noticeable once you start priming and painting your models. So always use the back of your blade to clean them up. All right, those are your 3 squigs. Now we're going to get on to the Night Goblin Herders. You've got this one guy who's holding a snotling as bait tied to a stick with a little stabby bit at the end. You can see the mold line on that stabby bit right down on the bottom of the blade there. The snotling has this great expression, cartoony, screaming expression, hilarious. And Night Goblins were so easy to paint because you just spray prime these models in black with black primer. Use a flat black primer, and then that's pretty much all you have to paint because the green bits for the skin of the Night Goblins is mostly hidden beneath the hoods and the robes. But this guy, you can see, he's got his arms out and he's holding these symbols. There's a little bit of flashing there on the top of his hat and connecting the hat to the symbol. I would keep that, just paint that black for stability so that hat doesn't break off. And I love this figure because it's got a bandage around its nose, and the narrative looks like it was banging those symbols, and the nose is so long and pointy that he banged his nose repeatedly. I love it. I love the extra detail that I used to play percussion in high school, and the symbols had those little straps down the center to connect it to the handles in the back. And the fact that they didn't just sculpt these symbols to look like two cups. You know, they've got the strap down the center in the middle on the inside. It's a great attention to detail. Again, you can see a little bit of flashing here and there. just take your hobby clippers and clip those little metal pieces off. And now we're going to get to the part of the models that I don't really care for, and that's how the tabs at the bottom of these models, they write down usually what they are, and what that does is create extra surface that end up making it so that the model won't fit into your slotted base. You see you have 5 slotted bases here. They're square, 20 millimeter, and because it's that word herder down the front was written onto that metal tab, it's not going to fit into the slotted base. So what you're going to have to do is either take your clippers or your model knife or some other tool that you have and scrape off or cut away that word herder to make the tab flat to be able to fit into the base. Or what you could do is just clip the entire base away from the model itself. Then you're going to have to fill in the center, this little slot, with some sand or cork or something else to just fill that hole in. Then just glue the feet of the model to the base. That is an option. I've done that before. That's not too bad. You can buy some cork board pretty cheaply at some hobby stores. Just tear off a little bit, stuff it in there, fill, glue it, and then throw some like white glue, Elmer's glue, and then you can just glue the feet to the base using either super glue, or you can drill and put the pins into the bottom of the goblin's feet and shove those into the cork. There's a number of different ways you can solve this problem. The unfortunate thing is, for a new hobbyist who just wants to build and play with these models, you unfortunately can't with that cymbal player because he won't fit into the base as it is. Another option you could do is scrape away at the base itself, make the hole wider. That's another thing you could do. You can see here, this squig pops in perfectly. Again, it's got that tab connecting its left foot to the base. I would just paint that black or cut it away completely. It's up to you, but the reason for it being there, again, is stability. This squig has a tab as well, but it's easier to hide. You can see there it's on its stomach, and once you've got your model glued in with super glue to the base, you just put some basing material like sand. It'll be really easy to camouflage that one. You don't want to go too overboard though. You want to have some distance between the model and the base, or else it'll look like it's just lying on the base because the basing material will be all jammed up under the stomach. Here you can see the problem with this guy is the base is too narrow. So that's an easy enough problem to solve. Just super glue the tab to the base, hold it there, make sure it rests there, and maybe fill it in with some cork or some other material. This guy fits perfectly, slots right in, easy peasy. You'll notice that I mentioned super gluing your models. Do you guys hear that? There's like geese flying overhead. So that the models will stay in the base. If you're moving them around the tabletop on the playing field, you don't want your model popping out of the base. So even though they're supposed to be able to just push them in, play as is, careful, considerate players will always glue them in. Okay, so that is going to be it. If you want to get a hold of these, you can find them on eBay, or if your local hobby store has them. And thanks for watching, guys. Hey, if you sent me your address for the prizes for last year's Summer Painting Challenge, it will be on the way. If you're in the UK, I'm working out the shipping problems right now. And thanks so much for watching, you guys. Join the Discord. Links down below in the description. You can post your pictures and hobby progress there. And again, if you did take part in the painting challenge last year, send me an email at warbossTaystudios@gmail.com. Let me know, remind me what your challenge was, what prize you're going to be getting, and send me your address, your mailing address, and I will be shipping your prizes off to you as soon as possible. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.